So the first thing you want to do is you want to comb the hair out. What this does, it lifts the hair off of the scalp, making it easier for the hair to feed into the teeth of the blades. You want to make sure that you go with the grain of your client's wave pattern when you're combing his hair. If you don't know which direction to go in, it's always important just to ask your client, hey, how do you comb or brush your hair, and just go in that direction. So my client wanted to take it down to a 2 on top. So I went ahead and put on my 2 guard with the lever fully closed. That's an actual 2. And I'm just going the same way that I combed in the direction that I'm taking the hair down with. All right. So I'm going over that pattern multiple times to ensure that it's at that 2 guard length. Now, when it comes to the crown area of any waver, you have to recognize first what kind of pattern does my client have. Does he have a beehive? Does he have a swirl? It's really important that you know this and go in that direction. So right now, my client has a semi beehive starting, so I'm just going away from that crown, all right, in every direction. Whereas if he had a beehive, I would go, you know, kind of clockwise in the direction that his swirl is going. But being that my client is a beehive, I just go outward. So as a beginner, you might be thinking, why aren't you going against the grain? As wavers, we really don't like messing up our pattern, but you're right. We can go against the grain, let's say like with a 4 guard, but usually your clients just want their waves nice and neat. They don't want it messed up. They want their crown set in place, especially if they're a real waver and they've been working months and months to get it to look a certain way. So my client doesn't want any C cups at all. He wants a drop fade. So I'm gonna start right. I'm not gonna start right at that corner. I'm gonna go a little bit below that. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to give a gradual fade. I want to get, you know, as much room to blend as possible. So I'm gonna start as low as possible, dropping it in the back, making sure I set this guideline in very neatly. So if you like these full-length tutorial videos, let me know in the comment section below. I do these for the students that don't know how to cut, and they can do it in real time. All right, it's one thing watching a video and you'll see it speed up, you know, you got to stop, but with these videos here, you know that I'm doing it in real time, and you know there is no pausing. You could just do it as I go. Keep in mind that I did not go all the way up to that point. Right there at the vertical bar, I left some room, went down a little bit, and it still kind of gives that same effect, but you'll be able to give a gradual blend, you know, as you keep going. Don't start off the bald line so high, because it's gonna look like a, you know, a tight blend. You want to stretch that blend as much as possible. So normally I would tell you guys to start off your guidelines, but I'm going to teach you something else, how to blend down. All right. What this does, this actually lets you, you know, keep some of that bulk around that parietal ridge area a lot more than, you know, blending up. So right now I'm going to start with my 2 guard and take off everything on the side, basically going up about like 2 inches, right? So I'm clearing off the bulk first with my 2 guard open, and you know, I'm just going over the guideline multiple times to ensure that it's at that length. You'll end up realizing that, you know, the bulk that's past that 2 guard is not necessary. It's not necessary to take that off right away. All right, so everything we do now is just gonna blend below that. So right here, I just closed the lever and I'm going right under that 2.5 that I took off the bulk with, right? So I'm not gonna go all the way up to that 2. I'm gonna leave a little bit of room just under that. And I'm gonna go over that guideline multiple times. That way, I'm just taking baby steps as I go down. So putting on the 1 guard with the lever open, I'm going right up to that 2 guard closed, all right? I'm making sure I stay under the 2 guard as much as possible. I know where I set it, and you gotta kind of use your imagination because it's gonna be hard to see your guidelines. This is basically no guidelines at all. You're just fading downward, right? So just gotta keep in mind where you place everything as you go down. So if you really lock in and do this method of fading, you're gonna realize that, wow, I'm able to keep the fade as low as possible. You know what I mean? I'm not taking it too high. So this is a great way just to keep the fade as low as possible, but still have that gradual blend, especially with wavers, because we want our waves all the way down to the shoreline as much as possible. You know what I mean? My client just doesn't want waves on top. He wants a little bit of waves on the side too, but also he wants that drop fade look. So we're trying to keep the waves on the side as much as possible by still keeping that fade low and still give him that drop fade look. Again, all I'm gonna do is close that lever again and go right below that 1 guard with the lever open, all right? Like I said, it's gonna be hard to see, but you gotta kind of keep track of where you are in this blend, all right? And remind yourself that not all hair grows up and down. Sometimes you're gonna have to go side to side like I'm doing right now to get it at that length that you want it. Same thing with the 0 guard with the lever fully closed. I'm just going up right up under that 1 guard closed, making sure that I go over the guidelines multiple times to ensure it's at that length, making sure I stay in the parameter where I, put in the 1 guard with the lever closed, trying to stay under that as much as possible, but still knowing that I'm gonna have to detail everything anyway. My client has waves, and you know what, waves sometimes, it has those dark areas where, you're just gonna have to detail. So what I did here is I noticed some areas where I could perfect. This is kind of detailing as I go. So I went ahead and opened the lever on that zero guard and just kind of getting in those areas where I see bulk using that flick out method. Now dropping down with no guard with the lever open, I'm using it just to soften that bottom line up, and that's what I'm paying attention to. I'm just trying to flick out that bottom line by softening it up with the lever open. Next, with the lever fully closed in a flick out motion, I'm flicking out that bottom line, making sure I start below the line, flicking to the line, and I'm gonna adjust my lever as I go up. I'm not just gonna keep it with the lever guard, with the lever closed. I'm just gonna kind of, work my lever as I go higher into that blend. So like I said, the bulk on top, on the sides, you're not gonna have to take off too much. So what I did was grab my one guard. Since I put on the two in the beginning, I'm just gonna take the sides down to a one guard with the lever open, just smoothing out everything on the sides a little bit, knocking off some of that bulk. But as you can see, the bulk is kind of needed because, he has his waves and you want to keep and maintain, the side waves as much as possible. So after we do that, that's not it. All right, this is where you really need to get in your bag. All right, detailing is extremely important. It sets you aside from being just an average barber. What I like to do is I like to refer to the mirror, because the mirror shows you a different perspective on the blend than just seeing it head on. All right, so look in the mirror, look at those areas where you see bulk, point them out by using your finger, and just knock those areas out using your corners of the blade. All right, if you don't have access to a mirror, I like to look away from the blend, come back, and I'll realize that, oh man, I see different things that I didn't see by just staring at it the whole time. All right, so rest your eyes if you don't have a mirror. Detailing is extremely important. So I'm gonna prep the front line by brushing it down and taking it a guard size lower, just the edge. That way your client doesn't have any overhang. He doesn't brush his hair and then the hair overlaps and it doesn't look like he has a lineup anymore. Also, I'm gonna spray some dry shampoo on my client's front line. The reason why I'm doing this is to take away that grease that he has in his hair. I could have washed the hair, yes, right? But, you know, as a waver, we really don't want you touching our hair that much. Like, we want our waves locked in. He should have washed it the night before, but, you know, as a waver, we like to put, you know, some oils in it. I'm not saying that his hair is completely oiled up, but it does have some oil in it. So I'm just using that dry shampoo to clean it all out. So now I'm using my unreleased 360 GZ trimmers, and I'm gonna start in the middle and work my way from side to side. All right, you don't want to start from one end and go all the way to the other. The reason why you don't want to do this, because it's a greater chance of you making that line crooked. You want to start in the middle, measure the distance from each side. That way you can kind of get a clear visual on how you need to level out you know, the front line. Now, when it comes to using enhancements, while you're in school, I would suggest don't use enhancements. Just go all natural with it. Perfect the cut first. But anybody that wants to use enhancements and want to know the mix, I use a 50-50 ratio, 50% Kiss Express black and 50% alcohol. So I'm gonna use my Barber Magic pencil just to outline his lineup. This makes it look 100% better. It just looks, I don't know, man. It just looks better. That's what, you know what I mean? It's basically makeup for guys. You know what I'm saying? That front line, it make it pop. It just does something extra, you know, to the haircut. So I like to go that extra mile, especially for the price that I'm charging. Now, when it comes to razor line, all you gotta do is stretch the skin and trust the process. Trust that blade is gonna glide across the skin. When I first started out, this was very difficult because I didn't want to, you know, press too hard and you know, just cut the skin. So you just gotta practice. With practice makes perfect. Don't think that you're just gonna dive right into cutting hair using the blade, using the shears, and just be natural at it. You know what I mean? Everything takes time. So be patient, trust the process, know that you're gonna get better. Listen, let me tell you why they call me 360. When they sit in my chair, I spin them in a full 360, and they come out looking like YouTube. This is the cut. And if you like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Also, Hustle Dreams Production, that's my brother. He does all my beats. His YouTube channel will be linked in the description below. Make sure you guys go give him a follow. Also, if you want to know where you can find any tools that you've seen in this video, links will be in the description below. Otherwise, you guys can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. My TikTok is official 360 Jeezy and my Instagram is 360 Jeezy. But it's your boy 360 Jeezy, and I'm out of here.